What happened to all the boxing games on Xbox? That's a question we've been asking ourselves for the past decade and then some, stretching all the way back to the Xbox 360 era. Fortunately, we've got a new challenger ready to step into the ring in the form of Undisputed, and first-time developer Steel City Interactive has spent the past few years ironing out the kinks in early access on PC. Ahoy folks, Krager here for Pure Xbox, because over the past 4 years we've had our eye on this one, and it's been quite surreal to finally go hands-on with Undisputed on Xbox Series X and S. But before we ring the bell and get cracking, this was written by Fraser Gilbert for PureXbox.com and adapted by me. There is an inevitable comparison to be made here with Fight Night Champion, of course, which is the most recent entry in EA's popular series, although it's been 13 years since that game landed on Xbox. The good news is that Undisputed should feel very familiar to anyone who enjoyed those Fight Night games back in the day, but it has a much slower and more methodical pace to it. The developer has chosen to lean heavily into the simulation side of things here, particularly in terms of unique footwork mechanics that require your movements to be much more calculated and precise, and the result is a game that, in theory, offers more gameplay depth than Fight Night ever did.
Who would have thought Ali would get rattled like this?
Against CPU opponents at least, there's a nice flow to fights that prioritizes short and snappy combos in between blocking, dodging, and maneuvering your way around the ring as elegantly as possible. As you wear down your opponent, you create opportunities to break their block and do some real damage, such as opening up cuts and swelling their eyes completely shut. The physics-based interactions means that no two knockouts are ever the same, and the way that the fighters slump into the ropes when they hit the mat looks quite realistic.
And Enzo wilts down to the canvas.
Going back to Fight Night Champion after playing Undisputed, EA's game definitely feels snappier in terms of how quickly you move around the ring and throw punches, but it also feels a bit too arcadey for our liking, and this is coming from the perspective of pretty casual boxing fans. That said, Undisputed can be guilty of the opposite, with punches feeling unresponsive and lacking in power at times. The balance isn't always spot on, and serious boxing aficionados will inevitably find more holes to pick than us. But there's plenty of enjoyment to be had with Undisputed's authentic approach in the ring, and we found ourselves consistently getting that addictive one more fight feeling. All of this is wrapped up in a presentation suite that feels, well, pretty familiar to Fight Night. You've got a good selection of boxers to choose from too, including the likes of Muhammad Ali, Katie Taylor, Alexander Usyk, and many more, and their character models aren't too shabby at all. The venue list is large as well, from grotty gyms to large arenas, and although some look better than others, we've been suitably impressed by the majority. Yes, we might be saying the presentation is comparable to a game from 14 years ago, but overall Undisputed does look better than Fight Night, and keep in mind that this is a brand new series from a totally new development team. Beyond the standard exhibition mode, Undisputed's main focus from a single-player perspective is the career mode, which allows you to create either a character or use a real-life pro to compete for numerous championships in the world of boxing. This follows a gameplay loop where you negotiate new fights, embark on fight camps to get yourself ready for those fights, and then hopefully find yourself climbing the ranks when you win. You recruit staff to help you along the way, and remaining loyal to them grants you continued access to specific perks, but there's always the allure of going with better qualified personnel that become unlocked over time. We wish career mode had a bit more depth in some areas, such as putting you into gym-based minigames when training between fights, as everything is handled via the menu interface as things stand. Otherwise though, this is a competent career mode that you can spend many hours with. We've had a good time just grinding away and slowly leveling up our fighters throughout Undisputed's review period. The one thing we can't really talk about so far is online. Undisputed has a big multiplayer focus, but considering the game doesn't come out until October 11th or the 8th if you're buying the deluxe edition, we haven't been able to find anyone on the servers. Obviously that'll change very soon and we'll let you know once we've updated our review on the website, but what we can tell you is that the online fights between the team here at Pure Xbox have been smooth, and the game offers various multiplayer options including quick fights, ranked fights, and private lobbies, although we don't believe crossplay is supported with PC and PS5 at launch.
The greatest has been Dave. Finally, Muhammad Ali goes down.
After 14 extremely long years, we're so glad to be finally playing a major new boxing game on Xbox. Undisputed isn't necessarily the perfect follow-up to Fight Night Champion, but it's a more realistic take on the sport that delivers a good amount of entertainment inside the squared circle, and we're impressed by what the Steel City Interactive team have created with their first video game ever. Let's hope we don't have to wait another 14 years for a sequel. Well, there you have it for Fraser's impressions. Whilst we're not ready to slap a score on Undisputed, having not truly experienced the online modes in full flight, from what we have sampled, Undisputed is a pretty great return to the ring in 2024. For a fisticuff casual like myself, who pretty much avoids every UFC game on the market, I did thoroughly enjoy the Fight Night games back in the day though. Undisputed isn't perfect by any means, its graphics aren't anything to shout about either, especially on the Series S, where they look a bit jaggedy, and having to constantly spam the A button to advance through the weeks in career mode as you attempt to manage your fight sharpness and weight reduction is repetitive and desperately in need of a simulate until match fit shortcut. But when it all comes down to scrappy, punchy fun, it's got that in spades. Let us know your plans for Undisputed on Xbox. Will you be picking it up? And of course, keep your eyes on purexbox.com for our final review score refresh for Undisputed once the servers go live. All that's left to say is bye-bye for now. Cheerio!